The Dublin Horse Show means a huge amount to us here. We've great memories, fantastic memories of it. And there was a big build-up here every year. The closer you get, the more frantic it got, and everything had to be perfect. And a few nervous days, but some great days, great days. Like great days with my dad up there, I'm sure you'd be as proud of him when he'd win, you know. And but it all worked well. My dad, he was interested in showing all his life. He had a passion for Dublin, for the RDS. Didn't show much throughout the country beforehand. The only day it counted was the RDS, basically, and he'd have the horses ready for that. And he was lucky enough to win the Supreme Championship 6 times, and he had 2 lead champions up there as well. There is a cup in Dublin at the moment that's presented to the rider of the champion, and it's in memory of my dad, and it's presented to the rider of the Supreme Champion every year. And my brother Michael does it, or I do it, or some of our family do it, whichever of us are there. It's done on the Saturday night. As a standout, probably his last year riding a small hunter. He was just 74 years of age in 1993 and had this small hunter, and he won with him, a lightweight small hunter, and won with him. And I think that probably meant as much to him, to my dad that time, as riding the champions, mainly because of his age and the fact that he was well able to do it, still well able to do it, at just 74 years of age.
I went to America when I was 18 or 19, after school, after I did my Leaving Cert. I went over, and I was lucky with the people I started out with. I went to a man called Alex James to start with, and he was very good to me and got on well, and was with him 3 years. Learned a lot from him, rode a lot of young horses, and then moved to work for the Jacobs family, Joan and Lou Jacobs, and their daughter Charlotte. Worked there for 2 or 2.5 years, and then decided then 2 years ago to come home full time. So I've been home here now, based out of here 2 years now. Myself and my brother Patrick kind of do everything together. He's actually away at the moment. He's been away for the last year or so, just to learn and to ride, and he was in Europe and he's in England at Shane Breen's now at the moment, but try and do everything together, and we have a good relationship, a good business relationship, and we get on well, and I suppose hopefully at some stage we'll do everything together here. It's very hard to buy them now and to find them, so I do love the breeding side of it, and I'd love to have a good group of horses coming up every year. I suppose that's what we're trying to get to. We're starting to breed more and more each year, and yeah, I suppose I love the young horses and the producing side of it, and getting them to a certain level and selling them on and watching them hopefully go on and jump big fences.
In 1969 he rode a horse from Mrs. Latta from Enniscorthy or Ballynakill, and he was a thoroughbred horse by Arctic Slave, actually a horse called Frozen Slave. And Ernie Road, his first champion, was a thoroughbred horse as far as I remember as well. And his own horse, Foggy Wood, in 1977, he was a thoroughbred horse by Woodville. He bought him down in Cork with a view to showing in Dublin as well. And then the rest of them were all half-bred horses. Horse belonged to Phil Sweeney from Thurles, a horse called St. Swithin. He won for him. Willie Johnson in Wexford, he won a champion for him, and then his last horse was a horse called O'Shea. He was a big heavyweight horse, and that was in 1988. He had a good eye for a horse, there's no doubt about that. That was proven down through the years. He had a great eye for a horse, and he was lucky. One of the lead champions that he had, he was a horse by Daybrook Lad. He bought him in Tipperary 3 days before the entries closed, and entered him straight away, and he went on and won the championship. And then the other lead champion that he had was actually a thoroughbred horse by a stallion that stood in Wexford, a horse called 3 Wishes. Rothwell's had him. And this fella won the championship, and he went on and raced then and won a few races. His name was Hot Scotch.
We're starting to get together a good bunch of young horses now. I suppose it was a bit slow when I first came home, but I have maybe 10 or 12 in work now at the moment. A couple of 7, 8-year-olds and 4 and 5-year-olds and things like that. Both ones that we've bred and ones that we've bought too. And I was also lucky, since I've been home, there's some good people that will buy horses with me and things like that, which makes it easier. And I suppose that's what was helpful about being in America too. I've been able to get good contacts and good people behind me, which help.
Sure, my great-grandfather started off here way back in the early 1900s, and I went on from there. He married in here at that time, or late 1800s, and there were always horses here as far as I know. Half-bred stallions, and then moved on to thoroughbreds, and the first good thoroughbred stallion of note, my dad went over to Newmarket in 1958 and bought him a horse called Arctic Slave, and he was top class. He got good winners on the flat, and he had some great jumping horses as well, great national hunt horses. Moved on then to Master Owen in the 70s, and then moved on to Over the River and Callernish. They stood here in the 80s. Over the River got 2 Gold Cup winners, and Callernish 1 Gold Cup winner, Imperial Call. And Over the Rivers were Cool Dawn and Cool Grand. Those were the 2. And sure, he got top class chasers. We had a good horse ourselves by him that won the Tiestes twice and the Red Mills twice, Bob Tracy. Yeah, and we had great fun with him.
Definitely there'll always be thoroughbreds here, and there'll always be thoroughbred stallions, because just from a business point of view it makes sense, and I do like that side of it too. And sure, we're very lucky to be able to have a place like this that's been built up, like Dad said, over many generations, so we're not going to get away from that, and there'll definitely always be stallions here. But I think myself and my brother's passion would be more the show jump inside at the moment anyway. So I just love being at home really, and being able to work with Dad and my brother and everything like that. It's cool to carry on the tradition.